In this video, I'm going to show you how to change out your dovetail front sight for a new front sight. So the first thing we're going to do is get this secured in our vise, and we want it to be pretty close to the front sight where we're going to clamp down. Make sure that's nice and secure. Now, the front sight needs to be drifted from left to right in order to remove it. And the new one is going to go in from right to left. So now we're going to use a brass punch and a hammer to drift this sight out from left to right. So I have the new front sight here, and first we're going to make sure that it does not actually pass through this dovetail. There's always a chance that a dovetail can get enlarged. We don't know necessarily the life of the rifle or even how it was manufactured. It could have had an oversized one put through it. So we want to make sure that the sight does not even want to start. That's a good sign, because these are made to have a little bit of extra material on them. Now we're going to use a small triangle file. This is a jeweler's file. And we're going to file on one side of this dovetail on the sight. And we want to do one side instead of both sides so that one side stays straight. In this case, I'm going to leave the front the way that it is. If we filed on both sides, we could end up with the sight wanting to be slightly crooked one way or the other. I'm over exaggerating what it would be, but we'll still leave that front edge, so it'll want to index the sight so that it sits straight in the dovetail. And now the other thing is, when I file on this, I'm going to be a little bit heavier on the left side of this sight, because when this goes in, we need to make sure that we put it in from right to left. So the left side of this dovetail, we want to file a little bit heavier on this side than we do on this side over here, so that it forms a little bit of a wedge. And we're just going to take a little bit off at a time, and we're going to keep trying to test it to put it into this dovetail until we get it in approximately halfway by hand. So you can see, just starting out, how I'm filing a little bit heavier on this side than I am on that side. And these usually don't take too much, but we still want to make sure that we're getting all the way across. Still doesn't want to start. Still not quite there yet. So it's just starting in now, but you can see we've still got a ways to go, because we want this to get about halfway just by hand. All right, I think we're gonna try driving this in now. Another thing I'll note too is I've seen a lot of people try to file or sand the bottom of the sight to get it to fit. And although that can work in a lot of situations, the extra material that's left on these sights is on the angled surfaces of the dovetail. And there's only so much room, the from the very bottom of the dovetail to the bottom of the blade right here is 100 thousandths. And these dovetails on most rifles are usually, they can vary a little bit, but they're usually about 90 thousandths. So that's only leaving you 10 thousandths of space in between the bottom of the sight blade and the top of the barrel or sight ramp. So the correct way to do it is really with a triangle filing on one of these angled faces. And once you get the hang of it, you'll never want to do the bottom anyway. That's a much larger surface area, and it actually takes longer to do. This is a small surface area. It files pretty quick. It's just a few minutes of patience, and it's really not too bad at all. So you can see that we've got that about halfway in. So now we'll try to just tap it home. I'm using a plastic drift punch here just to try to help prevent marring it any more than we need to. We're just going to eyeball it to the center. Tripod leg is in the way to get a full swing. So there we go. There's our front sight installed in its dovetail. And I think we got it on there pretty evenly.